Welcome into episode 118 of JD's Empire Sports Talk. Of course, I'm JD here with Jake Biggie Mills, who was absent last week. So we'll get his thoughts on the whole draft party. But before that, Biggie, how we doing? We have a lot to cover, and I know you have to leave early, so we're going to do, the important stuff to the both of us first, and then I'll kind of take care of the other stuff like baseball that you don't necessarily care about as much as I do when we get to it.
Especially right now because the NHL playoffs are going on. Yeah. So, I'm fully with you on that. But, doing good. I said last time I was on here was the draft show at Patrizia's.
Right. Yeah, right.
That was incredible. Great time. We did it. We did it. That's all I got to say is we did it. You know what I mean?
We did it, and and we've gotten great results even after. We've gotten a lot more, looks on our, profiles and all that good stuff, which is, more exposure, which is what we were looking for a first-time live show, and we've got a ton of it. Even some people that are commenting some not so nice things on TikTok. I hope you're listening.
That comes with everything, though.
Yeah. It's sometimes it gets hard though when someone tells you to take your equipment and throw it out. But it is what it is. But you're right. It does come with what you do. Not everyone's gonna like what you do and your style of doing it. But we're gonna keep plugging along like we usually do. But for tonight, we're gonna do hockey and how you doing while Biggie's here, and also get his pick, which I probably will just do mine at the same time just because we're both going to be here still. And then if you're still here, we'll get into football. If not, obviously you can go, and then I'll take care of the rest. I left NBA for last, so those I know who are watching are going to want to know my thoughts on just the NBA playoffs as a whole. I'll hold off on that until the end, and baseball as well. But let's start with hockey. So the second round is in full swing. I know last time, I think it was, last Tuesday when I did the episode, the only teams that advanced was the Avalanche and the Hurricanes. Now, obviously, we got a full complement of teams in there.
Yeah.
All teams. This is weird to me. It was kind of any team that had a second seed label. So obviously hockey's a little different because they do it kind of by divisions in the first round or so. Pretty much it's how you do it besides the wild card. Every team that had that second seed label on next to their logo all lost, and as well as the 4. So any 2 or 4 seed labels, let's say, all lost and were eliminated in the first round. So it's all 1 versus 3 matchups for the rest of the way, which is kind of weird. I don't know if that's ever happened before, every single matchup resulting in that. But that was fascinating to me. I was like, I have to bring that up, right? I know when your team was one of them that knocked off a 2 seed, right?
Yeah, I know that series was incredible. I haven't been on here since then, but
no.
That series was fantastic. As a fan, I think as a hockey fan in general, you can agree that was one of the best NHL playoff series we've seen in some time. Just the amount of hate, you could tell the hatred between us two. You know what I mean? That game 6, I mean, come on. Doesn't get any better than that. Cam York scoring that goal in overtime. I mean, just incredible. I literally was sitting on the edge of my recliner and my heart was going like this. It was I was
going to say, I barely watch any hockey this year because usually I told you this. When the Rangers aren't in contention, I just give up because I'm not that invested into hockey. And I'll tell you something. I was watching that game last week. I was a fan of, either team. I was feeling the emotions of both sides. I'm like,
I think I know who you're rooting for, but
Yeah, I was rooting for you guys.
I know we're great. Yeah.
No, but I was like, damn, this is a great game. And that's the beauty of, playoff hockey, especially. It's just always, you never know what can happen, especially that went into overtime. I can only imagine, like you just said, your heart felt like it was going to explode out of your chest, which
as a fan, oh my God. Especially for the Flyers who haven't been in a position like this since probably about 2012, because they made the playoffs in 2018, played the Penguins, lost. 2020, they, so the 2020 season we made it to the, I think it was the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't remember exactly, but we lost to I think it was the Islanders, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It was them or Montreal, I think. And it was the Islanders, but that was in the bubble. That was kind of weird. Like, this is like full on playoff hockey, and the Flyers, I think last time they're in the second round was 2012. I want to say. I want to make sure.
Yeah. I was going to say, what the point you're getting at here, it's been a very long time for you.
Oh, long time coming for playoff hockey in Philly.
Right.
Especially at this level.
Yeah, that's the point you're trying to get at there. And it just shows. It doesn't matter, people may have thought that Pittsburgh had the upper hand just because of the experience, but you never know what can happen when a team has that much confidence in themselves. That's the big thing. If you have confidence in yourself, then you can go out there and really have a shot at beating anyone. I know there's a few teams, obviously, you can play your A++ game, but you're playing that special team, maybe the Avalanche this year. And sometimes when you play that special team, it's very difficult to, even beat them. Which can happen, but that's what I wanted to go to next. As you found it.
Sorry to cut you off, but I was right. So in 2020, they lost to the Islanders in the second round. My apologies. And then before that, it was 2012. It was the Eastern Conference semifinals. They lost to the Devils. And that was 2 years out of their 2010 Cup run, where they lost to Chicago in Game 7.
Yeah.
That, invisible goal that I still don't think was a goal to this day, and ruined everything for the Flyers and began the Blackhawks dynasty. 2010 Flyers, man. Giroux should have a cup.
Yeah, and the fact that you're going back, that long just shows how special this one could potentially be. They are. We'll get to it in a second. They are down 2 games.
Yeah, they're down quite a bit.
I was going to say, you never know, especially last night's game. I know they lost the way they did. They were up and then they lost, but still.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know what can happen, especially they're going to be home now next game. But let's go to the West first, and then I'll let you talk about the East. Obviously, you're more of an Eastern Conference guy. I just don't really care too much about hockey right now because my team is in shambles. I'm worried about the draft lottery, which is
we have news on that. With the first pick has been decided.
Okay, I was going to say
we're going to wait for it, but it's out there. They announced it about a minute into our show.
Okay, all right. So we'll get to that right after we get through the the present, which is the the playoffs. But Avalanche are up 1-0 over the Wild already. They also swept the first round, so they're 5-0 in the playoffs, and they just have looked dominant. I mean, this is something that I think someone that may not be the most intelligent around Biggie can figure out that the Avalanche are just a very good team, how they played in the regular season. I mean,
you put up 9 goals in your first second round playoff game against a very good Minnesota Wild team, who I have said on this show were my favorites to win the Stanley Cup since the second half of the season. If you do that and you just swept your first round series,
like it was nothing. They didn't even break a sweat.
No,
they didn't even break a sweat. And I mean, how long did we get into that season, into this regular season, when they had less than 10 regulation losses? We were in March or so.
Yeah, we were pretty close into April, actually.
April, I was going to say, I kept reading it every week. I'm like, oh my, they're still going strong, and I'm not surprised that they're obviously a really good team. And then they were going up against the Wild that won their series in 6 games over the Stars, and then the other matchup in the West is the Vegas Golden Knights and the Anaheim Ducks. Both teams won in 6 games as well, so there was no series that went more than 6 games in the West. A little different in the East, of course, but Avalanche won their series 4-0, Wild 4-2, Vegas 4-2, and Anaheim 4-2. Before we move on to the Eastern Conference, who do you think is going to win these 2 matchups? Obviously, I know we the top one that we just discussed, we could probably agree on that Colorado will move on. The other one's a little different because I think Vegas is the more talented team, but Anaheim has that little bit of a mojo going for them because they just beat Edmonton. They just beat Edmonton. He's very good.
They're very similar to the Flyers in that way. I feel like personally, they have a younger-ish core of guys, not as young as us, but pretty young. I mean, Cutter Gauthier is a younger player. They have a couple older guys. It's very similar to the Philadelphia Flyers. Very similar, and they're playing like that right now. Because the Ducks, I mean, the Western Conference is way less competitive than the East was this season.
It was.
I think the Flyers, like I said, if the Flyers were in the Ducks position all year, they would have had that playoff spot locked by January or February. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The Ducks, if they were in a level of play like the East was, they wouldn't have had that 4th seed lock. Or they ended up being a 3, but they were 4 the entire.
They were battling,
season.
yeah.
were battling to get in that third spot, and they did it. But they always had a playoff spot. They were never out of a playoff spot. In the East, the Flyers were out of a playoff spot for a good chunk of the second half of the season post All-Star break. But just the way they're playing right now reminds me of Philadelphia. Just very similar play styles, very gritty and tough. Younger type teams with a little bit of veteran presence. I think Anaheim is a little more veteran presence than we do, but very similar. I do like them. However, I think it's going to be similar story to what's going to happen for my Flyers. I think Vegas is just too talented and more experienced in the playoffs than Anaheim is. And I just think they're not going to be able to keep up. And I think that Vegas is going to beat them. I think we're going to see a Colorado-Vegas Western Conference final.
It seems like a collision course of those two. The way the season went, Vegas wasn't satisfied. They were still had a good year. They weren't satisfied with what was going on.
I mean,
they're in it to win it. Obviously, they really, they believe they can do it too, which is
which they could. As much as I don't like them, they absolutely can. You know what I mean? Like they are one of the teams that I could see going that far, but no, Colorado, I can't put it past them. Like my God,
They're just dominant, right? They're just dominant. But both of those teams seem like it's going to go that way. Anaheim, I would expect them to not only, just because they're in it this year doesn't mean they're never going to make it again. I think they're going to be around for a little bit. It's just not their time yet. It's just not there. We've seen that when we talked about the NBA later. We've seen a few teams now that have continued to get that slow rise up until the postseason. That could be the Ducks, in a few years or so. And then let's go to the East. So take me through these two matchups, because there's one team that is in rarefied air for what their franchise is used to. Another team that hasn't been in this situation a little bit in terms of the first matchup. And then we know what Carolina always brings. That team is always in the postseason, but they don't always, get it done when they're supposed to. And then obviously your Flyers. But I'm fascinated by the Eastern Conference because I feel it's anybody's, taking there. Anybody could get to the final here.
Yeah, the Eastern Conference is very, very, very tricky right now. Except, I hate to be this way, maybe to be being hard on my team, but I think Carolina wins it, and I think we get swept. I hate to say it. I think it's gonna be
a double sweep for the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I just think it's the landscape of the East. I don't think that's anything to do with that. I don't think they're gonna win the Cup out of there. I'll tell you who I think or make it to the Cup. I'll get to that in a second. But I just think the Flyers are just not there yet. It's like Anaheim. They're not there. You know what I mean? Carolina's talented. They're up at the top of the Metro all year. Now, I think they get past this round just because of the level of play. I think they do the back-to-back sweep just for that reason. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if Philly won one game in Philly. If they won on Thursday, wouldn't be too shocked about that, but I don't see it happening just because I just don't think we're there yet, and Carolina is just so talented. You believe Taylor Hall? I mean, you know the New York City metro area sports. Still doing it.
Still doing it. I'm not.
Taylor Hall is still playing like he was in New Jersey. Like when I first got into hockey, he was a New Jersey Devil, and he was very good with the New Jersey Devil.
I was going to say Devil's Legend. You stole the
Devil's
word
Legend. Taylor Hall.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy. I'm shocked, man. I'm shocked.
But yeah, and I actually think the Sabres Canadian series is going to go to 7, and I'm going to tell you right now, I think Buffalo wins.
All right.
I like them. I mean, I thought Boston was going to beat them. For them to go out there and beat Boston in the game the way they did in certain games, like they won a game 6-1, and then it was 6-0 until like 39 seconds left. They won game 6, 4-1, and Boston's a team that I think is a lot more experienced in the playoffs, like I've been saying, and I think they were more gritty. Like I said this at the beginning of the playoffs, I liked Boston more because I felt like they had more grit and they were a tougher team than Buffalo. Buffalo just is very flashy and can score, but I thought the toughness and grittiness would take over at some point, but Buffalo just kept doing what they do best, and that's scoring goals.
They got it going for them. They got everything like.
I mean, unbelievable. Alex Tuch, Tage Thompson, Dahlin. I mean, incredible. Those three guys are fantastic hockey players. And they're all playing good together now, which is huge. That's been kind of the issue. I feel like they've been relying too much on Tage Thompson over the last couple of years, and like the other guys haven't been able to, gel around that once it finally all came together. Look at what they're doing, because those are some really good. I mean, especially Tage Thompson, one of the best scorers in the league right now. Just incredible. But yeah, I think they beat Montreal in 7. I think Buffalo is really hot right now, and it's just the way the whole vibe around the Sabres. Like, haven't made the playoffs in like 15 years, right? 14 years, 15 years.
Been a while, yeah.
In a long time. And for them to, win that series too, and for them to play, like, score the way they're scoring, I can't see them not beating Montreal. But Montreal clawed their way through Tampa. Was kind of shocked by that. I'm a little surprised that they beat Tampa. They came out of nowhere and did that. I think I was expecting a Tampa Bay series win there because I thought they were just very, very good. They were a better team overall, I felt. But Montreal, they had to claw their way through that. And I think Buffalo looked a little more poised in their series, but Montreal fought. They really did. And I think it's going to be a 7-game series again for Montreal with Buffalo. But I think we're going to see a Buffalo-Carolina Eastern Conference final.
All right. We'll keep an eye on that because obviously when we turn around to next week, these won't be over yet unless it's like sweeps. Obviously, that's a little different.
One will be over.
Yeah. One may be over. I'm trying to be the confident guy for you, but yeah. See, we'll see. Like you said, probably will be that that courtesy win at home for that team that usually looks like they're going to get swept. They usually get that one game.
And the way the Xfinity Mobile Arena has been for this playoff team, it's hard. It's a hard environment to play in.
Yeah. So listen, we'll see what happens. We'll get to it. Other NHL news we got in terms of the playoffs itself, and then we'll get that draft lottery update because I am, of course, not. It didn't go my way as usual. But the Wild, let's go to the Wild, back to the Wild, I should say. Benching a goalie after game 1. So Gustafsson is now in. I don't know how to say the starter's name, so I'm not even going to bother to say it. But he allowed 8. Yes, yeah, you got it. You got it. He allowed 8 goals in game 1. Now he will be benched. Do you think that's going to even help Minnesota, or you think they're just trying to to prevent pucks from just going in the net at this point, right?
I think Gustafsson's a little better than Wallstedt, to be honest with you. I think Gustafsson's a better goalie. I think will help a little bit, but I just think Colorado's too good. I mean, they're just dominant. That is a dominant hockey team, and it doesn't matter who you have in net. You're not stopping every shot, and we call it the way Colorado plays. You're not scoring on them that much either. I just think the big thing with them is, I don't think their defense is as good as their offense is, personally. I think the way they win games is how much they can, how dominant they are. I mean, Nathan McKinnon, I think, is a top 2 player in the entire league with Connor McDavid. I know people will say he's overrated, but I think he's the most overall talented player. But Nathan McKinnon comes close, 100%. Nathan McKinnon is an absolute beast. I don't think that's going to be much of a difference, to be honest with you. I think Colorado's going to keep doing what Colorado's been doing all year, and I hate to say that because I've had Minnesota Wild as my Stanley Cup champion for 2 or 3 months, and now I don't. So I don't.
Well, yeah, the games will definitely dictate that. But I was expecting that answer from you. I was expecting that just because, they may not score 8 goals, but they'll probably still score 3 or 4. And
it's not going to make that much of a difference, to be honest with you.
You're not going to come in there and see a shutout, the next game. It's a team like that. It's very difficult to stop. And they're trying anything, to help themselves out. Then, go ahead. I was going to say,
they're just trying to stop. At this point, you're going to have to just play damage control. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to get to that point, especially depending on how game 2 goes, because obviously, it's game 1 and everything. But if game 2 is a similar story, you're going to have to go into panic mode, especially for a team like Minnesota, who's very, very good. You know what I mean? They're not a bad team. It's just Colorado looks too good right now.
Too good. I mean, there's always times where, teams take desperate measures just because they know it could potentially be a short series. And I think, like, you brought up a good point there. Game 1, it's only game 1, but when you look that bad in game 1, like when we get to NBA, I want to talk about Philly.
9 goals. Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Like Philly, like the 76ers, I'm sure they're going to make a ton of adjustments. I'll get to that, later on in the show.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of that game yesterday. They have to.
Yeah, right. Which is,
I just think the Knicks are also very, very good, JD. I think
a
little more credit. They're fantastic.
I'm becoming more and more happy with them as time goes on.
The way they're scoring right now, I would be.
It's effortless. I'm going to share what I sent in the group chat a little later on as well. But the point I'm trying to make is, when you lose or play that poorly in the first game of a series, you kind of know, okay, this team is definitely a lot better than us. We're going to have to do something to be desperate here and really, try to steal game. It's about kind of stealing game 2 at this point.
You got to find a way to steal game 2, and I think it's going to be very tough.
It's going to be tough.
After letting in 9 goals in the first one,
Yeah,
And
that's it.
again, you got another thing too, JD. You want to look on the positives. They also scored 6.
They did. That's what I'm
Colorado
saying. Like,
led in 6 goals too.
so maybe
So it
that's
wasn't like
why
they
they
lost
did.
9-1 or 9-0. It was 9-6.
Mm-hmm.
So we know Minnesota's good, but I just think Colorado just very, very good. I mean, they're definitely better, but I think Minnesota still is not the worst. I think it's not going to be a sweep. I think it's going to
No.
be maybe 6 games. I'd give it 6. Colorado in 6.
And 6, yeah. That's the other side of that. It's not even about they score. They were like, you know what, we did score a ton of goals. If we switch the goaltender up a little bit, could be something that changes. Like that. That's the ideas I'm sure that are going, throughout in their mind to try to help themselves, get a win in early on in the series before they fall, too far back. But then, the beauty of a team playing deep into the postseason, for Vegas at least, William Karlsson, I remember him from the Senators. So that's when I kind of remember him from, like the Senators. What they had a good playoff run, not too far.
You're thinking of Erik Karlsson.
Oh, Erik Karlsson. I'm sorry. So there goes my
yeah. You're thinking of Erik Karlsson.
Well,
yeah, he's on the Penguins.
Yeah. I was gonna say, but regardless, Karlsson is back for Vegas. 6 months on the sideline, which shows. I was gonna say you could definitely laugh at me. Please, hey, let me hear it in the comments. That was a terrible thing to say there. But the point I'm trying to make is, he is back for Vegas after 6 months on the sideline. So regardless of who it is, anybody that comes back. That's the beauty of your team going deep into the postseason. You may have, that look at it like, okay, you know what? I'm out now, but I do have a shot at coming back potentially late in the year just because my team is playing so well, and compliment them at least, because Vegas doesn't really need a ton of help the way they play or have been playing. But, adding that to the mix doesn't, help. I mean, doesn't hurt, I should say.
Right. Yeah. No, I still thinking about you said.
Yeah, that was a rough one. That was a rough one.
But yeah, no, getting Karlsson back's huge. Especially when you're already in a good position. Getting someone like him back is fantastic. I think it's going to only help them.
Yeah, I mean, it should, right? It's not like it's going to hurt them. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. And then before we move to how you doing, we'll do the hockey top 16 picks of the draft lottery has come in. Maple Leafs are first, so I believe they weren't projected top 5, right? Which is, I mean, you've been saying this for I don't know how many months, which is we have to try to go back to the first time you said it or what video we can find. Toronto is kind of in connection with the league to try to get the first pick, and now it doesn't look so out of whack when you say it now.
I hate them, dude. I used to love them, and they're such a poorly ran organization. They run all their good players out of town. They're going to do this. McKenna's going to be ran out of town in the next 3 years because we know who's going first. But wow,
yeah.
That sucks. So as a hockey fan, I'm not happy. No hockey fan besides Leafs fans are happy right now.
Yeah,
no, about that.
I was gonna say, like, it just the way I really would love to know what episode you said that, because I know you said it multiple times, but the first time you said it, I would love to try to find that because you were right. You were right. You're like, the league is going to find a way for them to get the first pick, and they did. Which, sometimes it sounds like a little out of nowhere, but in the NBA, we kind of saw the same thing. What a coincidence, Luka Doncic gets traded to the Lakers, and then the same year they get the first pick. Toronto has a very, very bad year. Like, listen, they don't do great.
And they're going to run, and Austin Matthews might not even be there at the end of the year. They might run him out of town too, like they did with Marner, which I think they're regretting right now, because look at Vegas and Mitch Marner right now.
And then look at Toronto, yeah,
right, yeah. I love Mitch Marner though. I tell you what, I was into them more because of Austin Matthews, but Mitch Marner is fantastic as well.
Yeah, he kind of was forgotten about as well. But going back to the Matthews thing, maybe that's why they kind of gave Toronto that first pick, because they know he's going to be gone and they need that next guy that's coming up. Like, it's all, listen, people may say you're a little crazy, but you're right. I mean, you are right about that. It was right. Then second is San Jose Sharks. Third is Vancouver Canucks, and the fourth are the Chicago Blackhawks. So we got a little bit of Western Conference flavor in there. 2, 3, and
Calgary got such a low pick. I thought they did right. I didn't think the Rangers would have a higher pick than the Calgary Flames, nor Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah, I was listening to Flames fans, because they were talks of getting number 1 too, of getting McKenna.
I was gonna say, it seemed like it was like the Blackhawks, Rangers, and Flames kind of in the mix for number 1 from what I've way I've been hearing it. None of them got number 1. None of them even got top 3. As the Rangers are 5, Flames are 6, Kraken are 7. Jets are 8, Panthers are 9. So from back-to-back titles to the 9th pick in the draft, like they need it. They'll probably be back anyway next year. Nashville Predators 10. 11 is the St. Louis Blues. 12 the Devils. 13 the Islanders. So back-to-back, that tri-state area teams right there. Then Columbus. Yep. And then the Blues are back because they have Detroit's pick. So they have 2 first-rounders in the top 15. And then 16 was the Capitals. So, there's some teams that were closer to the postseason than others, but they still got higher picks, what I'm saying is some teams had more points than others.
Yeah,
and got
like
higher picks.
Seattle, and then Nashville was almost in the playoffs as well, especially Seattle. Seattle had they were pretty close the whole year for the most
within
part.
A few points. Yeah,
I know. And they have a top 8 pick.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I feel like more of that happens in hockey, right? The hockey lottery than the NBA, right? More like craziness.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But glad we brought that up now. I knew it started at 7. I just didn't know when they actually, announced everything. But
I'm so mad about Toronto having the number 1 pick. No hockey fan is happy right now.
we got to find that clip somehow. We got to go back to one of those episodes that you said it, because
we got to figure it out.
Yeah, you said it multiple times. I just don't remember when you said it. It was one of those probably February, January times when you were like, yeah, Toronto probably tanking in the league is going to help them get the first pick, which is kind of funny because they did. They did get the first pick. Now let's go to how you doing. I know we're doing it a little earlier. Sometimes we don't even do it at all. We kind of just do it on the fly. But we're going to give it a dedicated time for tonight just because Biggie has to leave in about, 15 minutes or so, maybe a little more than that. But yeah, we'll kick it off with you just so you can get all of the teams that you want to talk about in. And if there's no time, obviously, then you can go. But if not, we'll keep going. But anything on any of your teams? I know you touched upon the Flyers, but any of your other, your favorite teams that you love to talk about?
Well, I can tell you this. I like Mikhail Lemon. We can go into a little more detail about Mikhail Lemon. We know A.J. Brown's not going to be there. I mean, that's pretty obvious. I think it's going to be nice. It's going to be nice. He's going to fit well, I think. Nothing new with Syracuse football. I know the Cavs just beat the Raptors, right?
They did, yeah. They did.
The Yankees are starting to pick it up a little bit more. They're starting to play really good.
Really well.
Yeah, they're playing really well right now, like they should have been from the beginning. I really haven't watched the game since opening day. My rule is, and I know this sounds crazy, especially for you and our viewers, because it's a lot of baseball folk, but I don't watch the Yankees till the Flyers are done. So, yeah, I'm still in Flyer mode until maybe probably about Friday, Saturday, probably till Saturday. Then I'll start watching the Yankees. But it's hard because I don't get Yes Network anymore. So,
yeah, it's a little difficult for you.
We haven't had cable. We haven't had cable in 3 years, and that was one of the channels we lost when we dropped cable. The Yes Network. We did get it around here, which I loved. You know what I mean? Because we're in the Scranton Wilkes-Barre area, we still got Yes Network, which was cool. And I think part of that was because we have their AAA team here, but we're still kind of a New York City outside market of New York City. You know what I mean? Almost. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. It was nice to have. It sucks I haven't had it in 3 years, so I can only watch them on primetime. But they get a lot of primetime games, so it helps.
They do. And if you have Prime, I was going to say Prime itself, Amazon Prime, they play. I think they play every Tuesday or Wednesday on Prime. That's weird. I know. I have a lot of friends that are Yankee fans, and they're like, "Oh, we always have to play on Prime every week." I'm like, "Well, I mean, that means they think you're a good team if you have a deal with Prime. The Prime is becoming, one of those up and coming, networks. Honestly, with basketball, especially NBA playoffs, there's been a game on Prime every night, so that's a good thing for the Yankees. I mean, that's a good thing to see, see them in there. And then I know you mentioned the Cavs. They are down by 14 in game 1 tonight. So Detroit. 49.
I wasn't expecting much. I knew next would be Detroit, and I'm like, yeah, it's not even worth following because they're going to get killed.
Well, no, we never know. We never know. But yeah, the Cavs. I mean, both teams did play a game 7, but the Cavs had to work a little harder in their game 7 than Detroit did. Detroit kind of took care of business in the first half, and that was really it. But anything else? Anything else on your teams? And then I'll jump.
Really got nothing else, man. I really don't. There's not much else going on. I've been fired up for the last 2 weeks. So
all right, we'll see. We'll see how the Cavs do. I know the Yankees are playing right now, I believe, as well. Yeah, they're 3-3 in the bottom of the third. So, they'll probably win. They're 24-11, and they're they're having a good time. I think their rookie, one of the rookies they brought up recently, he's pitching again tonight. So we'll see how he does throughout the entire game. I'll jump in here. Start with the Mets just because it is, for me at least, baseball season in full swing at this point. Mets have been a little better lately, but still, they're still 9 games under 500, so there's nothing to really talk about in terms of being excited. I would say if they go on another, if they can go on a nice run and get this within 3 or 4 games of 500, that's when we could talk about them a little more. They haven't really had any teams that have been difficult yet, and they just really haven't beat anybody, which is unfortunate. Tonight they're actually snowed out, which that's crazy to say in May, but they're
they're in they're are they at the Rockies?
Yeah. Yep.
They're
in Colorado.
There's a winter storm out in Denver right now.
Yeah, it's like 10 inches of snow. It's crazy in May. But yeah, we'll even see. I don't even know if I know they pushed tomorrow's game from 3 to 9:30, but that may even help because the snow may be so much it's going to be difficult to get off the field. We're gonna have to see what happens with that. And then tonight's game, tonight's game was moved to tomorrow, and then Wednesday's game was moved to Thursday afternoon. So just not playing tonight and trying to get the rest of that series in. And if you're the Mets, you want to get those last 2 games in because you don't want to have to go back there at any point during the year, especially with all the West Coast traveling they've already done. Then with the Jets, nothing much on the Jets. I know I've seen the rookies or whatever in the mini camps and stuff like that. So cool for that. We'll see if they do anything with the backup quarterback, which I know has been a little bit of a conversation with Russell Wilson visiting, but also being considered for TV and him really considering TV. So we'll see what happens with Russ. Right now, the Jets don't have a backup quarterback, in my opinion. They have Bailey Zappi, Cade Klubnik, who's not a backup quarterback yet.
Bailey Zappi.
Bailey Zappi is probably the backup quarterback.
He'll be starting by week 3.
He might be. He might be starting by week 3, but he is listed as the backup. That's why I mentioned him first. And then Brady Cook is still on the roster as well. So
Cookie's still on the roster?
Yeah, Cookie's still on the roster. Cade Klubnik, who we reached.
I hate Cade Klubnik. You have fun with that guy. I hate that. He's one of my most hated college football players of all time. I cannot stand that kid at all.
Yeah, I understand. I know we talked about him, the way he.
I don't like him.
Yeah, I know why you don't like him.
I don't like Clemson at all either. So
I could tell. I was gonna say
that pisses me off just as much as he does. So
I could tell. But yeah, I wouldn't count on him as the backup either. I know he had a very, very down year compared to his beginning of his college career, but still, you don't want your backup quarterback being a guy that has never taken an NFL rep before. Him being the third string is a little different to make him learn. And if you're hopeful, I'm not hopeful in him. I don't think he's going to be anything. But if they are, him being the third guy is more important than the next man up, especially with the history of what the Jets have been dealing with at quarterbacks. They tend to get injured or play very poorly early on in season. So you never know. But yeah, Tyrod Taylor, which I'll talk about, he went to the Packers. I'll give the Packers side of that. But he went to the Packers, so the Jets don't have their backup quarterback from last year, and there's nothing much out there. So there's, they got to think about what they want to do there because that's an important position, especially what, we talked about this on draft night. The offense is really not that bad besides the quarterback being the big question mark. They have weapons there. They have guys that need to get the football. But if you go from Geno Smith to, Bailey Zappi, Cade Klubnik, Brady Cook, that's not going to end well. And we start laughing. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that those guys are even there. But Brady Cook should be, cut probably, yesterday. Let's put it that way. After how, he played, not to his fault. He probably wasn't ready to even go in those games, but they had him in there to see. But yeah, the point I'm trying to make is they definitely need a backup, need it soon. Then let's go to the Rangers, obviously, because they just got the 5th pick. They got to get it together. I heard something today as I was watching a bunch of, or listening, I should say, to sports New York radio, and they were talking about the Rangers because they were hoping they got a top 3 pick, but they also wanted to talk about how the minors team, I think it's Hartford, right? The Hartford Wolfpack.
Hartford Wolfpack, the AHL team,
Yeah, they got rid of all of their coaches, so they clearly
they had a horrible. They were terrible this year.
They were terrible. They were terrible. Yeah, they were really bad. Yeah, they were terrible, and the fact
JD, they might move in the next couple of years. Their attendance sucks. I don't know if you've heard of any of that.
I've heard. Yeah, I was going to say that was the point they were talking about today, which, right now in the middle of, think about it in New York, what's going on with the Knicks and the Yankees and all that stuff, Mets struggling. And they felt the need to bring that up because the Rangers development has not been that good. Even with those teams, teams that were right. I was going to say, who's been a notable guy besides Adam Fox that has come up through that system after getting drafted high?
Nobody.
No one.
None of the Hartford Wolfpack dudes have been that good besides him.
Yeah, I was going to say
none of them have. It's insane to me.
None of them have.
I'm used to that. I mean, maybe I just don't see it because I'm used to the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins developing guys like crazy. I watch some studs down here, and then like I have to hate them when they go to Pittsburgh. A little contradicting there. I should have talked about the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins during the how you doing.
You could do it now. I was gonna say we're on
Yeah,
hockey,
well,
so you might as well.
I'm going to throw this out here. I think the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins are going to win the Calder Cup this year. They're too good, and the crazy thing is half the roster is going to be in Pittsburgh next year. Avery Hayes, Rucker McGroarty. I'm blanking on his name. Kopanen. I mean, there's just so many guys on that team that are so good. They're playing right now. They're in Hershey. They should have swept on Saturday. They lost 2-1. They're down 3-2 now into Hershey. Wonderful. Phil Kemp is another guy. He scored the opening goal tonight. I mean, they're just half that team, and then Sergei Miroshov in net. He's fantastic. Because it's a little contradicting because I'm a Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins fan and a Flyers fan. Just because the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins got me into hockey, and then when I got into the NHL, everyone was a Penguins fan. I'm like, I don't want to something just didn't click with me with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Something for some reason, nothing did, even though it was the affiliate of the team that got me into the sport in the first place. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? I like the Eagles. I like the color orange, because Syracuse. Let's pick the Flyers, and the rest is history. I'm probably the biggest Flyers fan,
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, I like that too. But yeah, that is kind of funny. You like the team of basically a team that you hate, but their minor league team you support, which is it is kind of funny. But going back to the Rangers, yeah, they just haven't done well developing, and they need that overhaul there. And whoever this top 5 pick is may not be on the team to start the year. He may be down in the minors developing, and they need to be able to actually produce something that's very valuable to come up. Knicks, I'll talk about the Knicks now, and then when we get to the NBA, I'll just give the update of what the series is again. But in terms of the Knicks, they've been outstanding so far in this playoffs. The wake-up call, I think, for them was going down 2-1 to the Hawks, they were much better then, and they figured things out. They figured out that Karl-Anthony Towns is effective with the ball in his hands, which is something that took them, probably 200 games as him being a member.
And I feel like from what I've watched, it's when he wants to be. I don't know why.
That too. Yeah, that too.
It's like sometimes you watch him play and you're like, what's this guy doing? Like he's doing this stupid stuff, but then when he's on, like he's good.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, this is the best he's probably played since he's put on the Knick uniform last year. Just complete. He's doing everything that's needed. So far, especially the last 4 games at this 4 or 5 games, whatever it is. At this point, he's been so good. Just passing, shooting when he has to, really getting inside and actually posting up on a guy. When you're 7 feet tall, you should be doing that instead of chucking shots up from half court.
Absolutely.
During the year, you've heard me express my frustration with him, and I'm very, very, proud that he's actually doing what he was supposed to do now, actually playing defense. Even last night, he picked up early fouls against Embiid, but everyone's going to get fouls against someone regarding Embiid. And he didn't let it phase him, though. He didn't take himself, things like that. He gets mental and just he takes himself out of the game, and he's checked out. He didn't let that happen last night. When he got back in the game, he picked up a few more fouls, but he was able to get into a rhythm despite him not being able to play maybe as many minutes as usually does because he was in a little bit of foul trouble. So I have to give him that. I know, listen, when you attack someone constantly, you have to give him praise when he's actually doing something right. So I do have to say it. I'm not admitting I was wrong because I wasn't wrong in the moment back in a few months ago, but I do have to say he actually is doing what he has to do, and I'm very, very proud of what he's doing. Yeah. And then just the whole team in general, just doing what they have to do. Mikal Bridges actually stepping up. Josh Hart is, you know what he brings. Anunoby has been, Biggie. OG Anunoby has been one of the best shooters in the entire postseason.
OG's great, man. Oh my goodness.
It's unbelievable. He's
very, very good.
I was talking to my dad and my brother about this. I'm like, he's the first $200 million NBA player I've ever seen as a role player that doesn't get doesn't get anything talked about because of what he does.
I know. Yeah, literally. He's fantastic, OG. He's good.
23 of his last, I think he's made, they said 23 of his last 30 shots, which is,
wow.
That's incredible. The 3-pointers, he's locked in with 3-pointers. He's always going to play defense. And then I don't even have to talk about Brunson because we know how great he is. He's a special player. He's just going to be there.
Tough dude,
he really is, man. He he takes a ton of hits and he just gets up and keeps going. I love the dynamic with him and his dad there too, because I think it was game, I want to say 4. I think it's 4. 4, because after the first big win they had, him and his dad were kind of like having that back and forth, and he was like, you know what, Jalen, I got to give it to you. I actually read about this one. He kind of just like walked away from him, which is kind of funny to me. But yeah, I like that. I like the whole dynamic they got going on there. And Mike Brown as well was a guy that was, up and down this year, but he's, got these guys all moving in one direction, which is what they needed. He's doing well. I have really nothing to complain about. The way they've played the last few nights, I don't think I've ever, this is the 4th year now of them being in the playoffs and advancing to the second round. I don't think I've, in that whole stretch of playoff games, probably about 30, 40 games at this point, I haven't been more comfortable watching a game. Like tomorrow night, if they don't win by 15, I'll be disappointed at this point of how I feel.
With the way they're playing, yeah, I would be too.
It's incredible. It's like a well-oiled machine, all on one string. Like nothing is wrong. Like they're doing everything they have to do. And when you have bench players coming in, Deuce McBride, Jordan Clarkson, Mitchell Robinson, who's a character, but he is a really good player as well. Jose Alvarado, fan favorite. Landry Shamet when he gets in. I mean, even Tyler Kolek comes in the garbage time and scores 10 points. Like, this is great. I mean, this is just everyone's contributing, and I think they're going to win this series in probably 5 or 6. I think 5 games after how they looked last night. I think
so. I'm not saying the Sixers got lucky, but they didn't. They haven't been. The way they won that series is a little like, I think it was a little lightning in a bottle, as I like to say. That's one of my favorite sayings. I say that a lot, but I think that was more of a lightning in a bottle type deal for the Sixers. And they're running into a very dominant Knicks team. It's kind of like the Colorado Avalanche in hockey.
Right. And I think going back to what you just said with the 76ers, they finally were able to click, all 3 of their players were able to click when they beat the Celtics. Last night they weren't doing anything right. And also
no. And then didn't we say that about the Celtics? Like, the dynamic, everyone was saying, well, Celtics should win it all. They should. Tatum's back. I didn't think that, right? How many times did I say it? You said it, right? You said it, right?
I did. I said, who's going to take that last shot? And it seemed like
it's going to be between Brown and Tatum. And I think there was going to be that dynamic of, well, you had Brown carry you guys for so long, and he was the only one doing everything. And Tatum came back in early March, and there was no dynamic there because he was out for so long. You got so used to the system with Brown being your guy. So Tatum finding his way back in was going to take a little longer than a month and a half. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I know that sounds crazy for a player like Jason Tatum, but that's just the reality of it. He was out for a long time. You know what I mean?
Very long time. Yeah, almost a year.
Used to that way that the Celtics were playing, like with Jaylen Brown being the guy, he carried that team on his back to get them where they were. Mm-hmm. And, when you throw in the other dynamic of Tatum and, him trying to get his feet wet again, it was too late. It was already too late for him to there wasn't enough time for him to get back in that system fully, I feel.
Yeah. I
mean, that's what was going to happen. And people were saying that was crazy, but you don't watch basketball. You don't know what you're talking about. I know sports. Okay.
Right,
I know sports. Right.
And that's a team.
That's a sports thing. That's not just a basketball.
Right. I was going to say that's not X's and O's. That's chemistry, team chemistry.
Yes, exactly.
That is. And we were right about that. You kept saying it. You're like, yeah, right now they're the favorites to win. Why? Because they look great in the regular season, but the regular season does not matter when you get to the playoffs. And yeah, they're up 3-1. Everything was all fine. And then boom, like that in 2 seconds, they went down. But going back to the Knicks, I just want to say this, I obviously we're expected to win the first 2 series. Our goal is to get to the finals and win it. That's the goal here. But appreciate and enjoy when they win these games, because you never know, after this, they may not make the postseason for how many years. I mean, in the beginning of, when I was in like late elementary school, early middle school, the team was not good. I mean, it was rough. It was a rough watch.
The Knicks were bad for a long time, dude.
Yeah.
I remember when I first got in the NBA, the Knicks sucked.
They were terrible. Bad. They were terrible. After 2012, 2013 years when they made it with Melo and Stoudemire a little bit. Yeah, I mean, that was it. That team was not good until COVID. So we've seen rough times. We've seen 20 wins or less. So don't complain or be like, oh, they're supposed to win. Yeah, they are supposed to win. They're expected to win, but enjoy it at the same time. Enjoy, what we got going on here, because you never know when they're going to make the playoffs again. You never know when you're gonna make it again. And yes, people don't. Yeah, I was gonna say we hit it at the same time. They don't get it. They don't get the chemistry thing, because yeah, Tatum is a great player, but when you're not involved in that locker room all year, I don't don't know if you heard this, Biggie. I know we're talking Celtics when we're supposed to be doing how you doing, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown, you know what he said? He said, you know what his favorite year of his career was?
What?
Guess his favorite year of his career this year,
I would say this year. I would hope if I was him.
Well, they did win a finals 2 years ago, so that tells you something.
Yeah. When you think about that, yeah, that's true.
That's what I'm
put
trying to
his
say.
dominance over them actually winning a championship. So yeah, that makes a little more sense now why they didn't beat the Sixers.
Right. I think it's a him and Tatum ego thing. That's what I think it is.
I agree.
And that's why he was, when he was having that great regular season by himself, he was always saying, I don't know, I saw his tweets. He was like, oh, not bad for a developmental year. Boston wasn't considered to do anything. He was taking that personally within his own teammates, which is a little, not good. Let's put it that way. It's not good to do that. But yes, good point there. That's chemistry. The chemistry.
And I think this is my cue to leave.
Yeah, perfect exit for you. He loves eating good hot dogs. And all right, Biggie, we'll see you tomorrow, most likely at some point.
Yeah, I'll be out for the next stream.
All right. Knicks Sixers. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yep,
all right.
See ya.
See ya. There we go. All right, Biggie's gone. I'll take over for the rest of the show. Nothing else on how you doing. It was pretty much what I went through everything so far. Let's go to the NFL, where the Giants adding DJ Reader was a big thing for them, just because Dexter Lawrence was replaced, obviously traded. The Giants didn't draft defensive line at a very premium pick. DJ Reader's still out there, veteran type presence, was on that Bengals Super Bowl team. He's played for Houston before. Very good defenses he's been a part of. Big guy, really big guy. And I think the Giants adding him only, helps their situation where they're looking to bring in leaders as well. Then other NFL news, we got Seahawks bringing in Dante Fowler Jr., pass rush help for Seattle. We highlighted during the draft show how Seattle did lose a ton of, guys that they had there on that Super Bowl team. They just couldn't bring everyone back, which usually happens, when you go very, very far like that. But yeah, they bring in Dante Fowler, who won't be anything, crazy, but he'll be okay. I think he'll be a good player. He was hurt last year. Then Tyrod Taylor signs with the Packers. So I did say, how the Jets did lose Tyrod Taylor, but the Packers do gain him. Malik Willis was their backup for the last 2 years. He's gone, and now Tyrod Taylor will be there to back up Jordan Love, which I think also, I don't think any. I'm not saying there was any trouble with Jordan Love and his job, security, but obviously this is a move that is just more of Jordan Love gets hurt. At least we have someone serviceable to put in there, and Tyrod Taylor may not even be healthy every game, so he can get hurt walking down the stairs. We've seen that as Jets fans. He's not always the most healthy backup anyway. So we'll see what happens with the Packers and their whole thing. And then other quarterback news: Anthony Richardson, 5th-year option not picked up. So that's big for the Colts. They're just trying to say, they're pretty much saying we don't want this guy here anymore after this year. If we can't trade him, which no one's going to trade for him, we'll hold him on the roster. He won't be active, and he'll be gone. I mean, even if Daniel Jones can't play this year, or at least in the beginning of the year, I should say, Riley Leonard will be starting over him. There's no question about it. Or they'll probably sign someone first before they have to put Anthony Richardson on the field. It's not happening. Colts fans, I know. I watch McAfee every day. He pretty much has said the same thing. And he's in with the Colts, obviously. He played there. He said that Richardson, they kind of want that to be over with and the whole thing, that whole situation. Then in the MLB, big news, big news, especially maybe not right now. Well, it is right now for the player, but instead, in teams, for the teams that are waiting in the wings for this particular player, Tarek Skubal has undergone or will undergo surgery for loose bodies in his elbow. So not Tommy John, so he won't be out for the rest of the year, but he will be out at least 2 months. I would say a little more than that. That's not an easy thing to come back from just because it is the elbow, and that's the most important thing of, your arm when you're trying to throw as a pitcher. And for the team point of what I'm trying to say, Tigers signed Valdez. I've been saying this since the offseason. They signed Framber Valdez in the offseason to have insurance for when Skubal will be traded. Because if you can't sign Skubal, which they can't, obviously they can't pay him $300 million for a pitcher. They can't do it, Detroit. All right, then we're going to trade him then. We can't bring him back. We have to trade him. And that's what they're going to do anyway. But, if he's not back by the deadline and teams are still like, you know what, we do want him because we know he could be and we know we can give him an extension. But they may not have to give up as much, and that may open the door for other teams to swoop in. You never know. Maybe a team just goes in there, you know what? There's a team that's in the playoff race that normally doesn't make the playoffs or has a shot, and they're like, you know what? We have a little bit of money to spare. or we can give up some prospects, whatever the case may be. We go get Skubal for our playoff run, and we can't sign him either. Okay, we didn't give up our top prospects because he's coming back from injury. So this opens up the door for, I think, a few more teams to jump in there, as opposed to maybe, if he was fully healthy, had like a 2 ERA like he usually does. That only limits. I had that window is very, very, very shut on teams that are going to trade for him. And I think that's the difference. But now with the injury, yeah, he'll be back. He'll be fine. But by the time he does come back, he probably only had a start or two before the deadline. Maybe he doesn't look that great. Teams are banking on his health to be better for the postseason. And then boom, he's good to go. And maybe a team that's really not expecting to even sign him just brings him in for the playoff run and they move on. So you never know. You never know what's going to happen with that. And that was kind of similar to what? The CC Sabathia trade. I know I was very little for this, but it went from Indians, wherever when they were called back then, to Milwaukee for the rest of the year. He did well, pitched them into the playoffs, and then he went to the Yankees after that, because the Yankees are like, you know what, we'll go get him anyway. He wasn't injured, but the point I'm trying to say is the team may just use him as a rental. They can't sign him and they'll let him go. CT, you never know. Atlanta's having a great year. Someone on this show, me, said that the Braves would bounce back. They're too talented to have another bad year. They were just injured last year, and they're still injured right now and still having a great year. But you never know. Skubal did get hurt against them, so they've seen him up close and personal, not even at 100%, just shutting him down like it was nothing. So I wouldn't be shocked by that, and I'm hoping he comes back because I need him for my fantasy team. We got a 4-1 record, and we need Skubal. He's been a big part of it so far. Then other MLB news, I didn't get to do this or mention it, was Biggie was here, but we'll do it now. John Sterling, longtime Yankees radio announcer, passes away at the age of 87. People may say, "Oh, what do you know about John Sterling?" Well, I'm not I'm not a Yankees fan. I'm a Mets fan, obviously, so I'm not a guy that listened to John Sterling all the time. But I do want to say this: when I was younger, one of my old neighbors, Tony, who lived across the street, huge Yankees fan, probably the biggest Yankees fan I've ever known in my whole life. He listened to, in the summer, it's a nice night out, neighbors are out. Why not go outside and hang out at night? He would still listen to that Yankees game on the radio, and John Sterling would be the voice. And that's a guy's voice I'll never forget, John Sterling. I always, I can hear it in the back of my head. And he's a legend. He's a legend. Obviously, someone like me who wants to get into the broadcasting field, and I'm happy to, you guys saw the announcement. I'm doing the Shore Stallions games in the Summer Collegiate Baseball League, the ACBL. And, some things that, Sterling has done, maybe I'll incorporate that. Not exactly, copy it, but things that he did well and be like, you know what, this guy prepared the right way. This guy knew how to make the game feel like he's just telling a story and just having a good time like he's sitting on the couch. And that's the big thing that I learned from, numerous different guys listening to them on the, throughout my life. Because for me, I've always wanted to be a broadcaster. So, yeah, I played baseball. I love baseball. Watch it for the sport, obviously. But I also sit there and I listen. I want to hear what these guys have to say. I want to hear that they keep it, keeping the room light. That's the big thing. Because it's not, obviously it's an important job and you're getting paid a lot of money. You travel and all that stuff. But you got to make it like you're telling a story to someone on your couch and you're just having a good time watching the game, at night or whatever the case may be. And Sterling did that. I got to say, he did a very good job with that. I know when certain guys hit home runs, he had good, phrases for them, catchphrases and all that good stuff. Or the big one was the Yankees win, which I can't do right now. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow night. My voice is a little shot. I don't want to scream, but those are the things that are remembered. And he got so much respect yesterday, which I was very happy about. Michael Kay, obviously the TV announcer, he did it at the end of the Yankees win. Aaron Boone did it in the dugout. They did it on the PA system in the stadium. Even the Mets radio announcer, Keith Rad, he did it. And he's a younger guy. He's not that much older than me. And he gets it. And he did it when the Mets won. He said the Mets won, obviously, because he was doing the Mets game. But still, he did that. I believe Wayne Randazzo, who used to work for the Mets season with the Angels now, I believe he did something to pay, respects to Sterling. So, a guy that was around that long, didn't miss a game for like 30 years or something crazy like that. It shows how much respect he got. But I just wanted to talk about him just because of what a legend he was. And let me go to the MLB standings. We'll do that quickly, and then we'll move on to the NBA and then pick them, and then we'll be out of here, which I didn't get Biggie's pick. So let me send him a text as I get the standings pulled up so he can get his pick in before the show's over. Canadians versus Sabres. That's the game we're going to pick. And then it was CT. Very awesome moment. And I do got to say, I'm not a Yankees guy, as you all know. Like, I do have to give him, praise when it's due. They do all those things correctly. There's a reason why they have all those numbers retired in the outfield. They know how to pay respect to someone, and they really get it. And that's very, very good of them. But let me send this message to Biggie. I'm sorry about that. He just forgot about it. Game 1 prediction, and then we'll get that when the show's almost over. But the MLB standings, let's pull it up here. A few games going on now as well, but we'll just talk about the games that records coming into today. Let's start with the American League, where we got the Yankees at 24-11, having a great year. Pitching has been dominant. Lineup is coming together. And the one thing I want to say about the Yankees is the fact they sent Volpe, their poster child of what the way they've believed in him for the last few years. They sent him to the minors, shows how serious they are about what they got going with this team right now. Because they knew if you bring Volpe back, he doesn't really hit in general, but he may not be in a full swing of things coming off injury. You force him back in the lineup, that may, mess some things up with the team. The Yankees understood Caballero's playing great. Let him play shortstop. Volpe, if he starts tearing it up in AAA, okay, then we'll bring him back up when the time's right. But right now, it's not. The time's not right. The team is the best team in the American League. Why ruin it? Why mess with the chemistry? And that's why they're 24-11. They're doing everything great. I mean, they have the top 2 guys in the Cy Young, and not one guy is named Garrett Cole. Max Fried and Max Schlittler are the 2 guys. Cam Schlittler, I should say. I combined the names there. Those 2 guys are top 2 in Cy Young. Garrett Cole hasn't pitched an inning yet. That just shows how good this team can be. Then in second place, very, very surprising, Tampa Bay Rays at 22-12. They're on a really good run, 9-1 in their last 10 games. The Rays always find a way. Last year was a down year for them, but I knew they would have a good year just based off of what they did at the deadline. They attacked last year's deadline like they were having a good year last year. They did it more of trying to improve this team for this year, and obviously 22-12, that'll definitely do it. And the Blue Jays still very, very banged up at 16-19. Then we got the Orioles at 15-20. They went all out in the offseason, not really working out for them. And then the Red Sox at 14-21. They're kind of still playing the same type of baseball as they were, kind of, middle of the pack in terms of recent success, 5-5. Obviously, dead on middle of the pack with their new coach. Then the Central Division, last year, the AL Central, that might have been a fake for them, because this year they're right back where they usually are. The Tigers are 18-18 in first. That gets you first place in the Central. Then we got Cleveland at 18-18 as well. Then we got the White Sox. Look at them, 17-18, only a half a game out of first place, which that never happens for them. They've been playing well lately. Then we got the Royals at 16-19. They're a game and a half out of first, so they're right there, 8-2 in their last 10. So they started out miserably, and they've been able to recover. And then Minnesota Twins, 15-20. They've not been good this year. They were good in the beginning, up until a couple of weeks ago when they kind of, took a dive down, and they're right back in their usual spot at the back end of the division there. Then the AL West as well. Listen, the American League, we'll get to the National, but the American League has really not been that good this year. They got, 3 teams legitimately over 500, and then you got 2 teams at 500. So not a lot of teams are doing that well. They're just beating up on each other. We got the Athletics at 18-16, Seattle 17-19, Texas 16-18, and we got Houston at 14-22, and the Angels at 13-23. I mean, the Angels, they're never good. The Angels are never good, but the Astros, they're done. I would say it. Last year they collapsed, and they just have never been able to recover, similar to what the Mets have done. The Astros, I would expect the Astros to trade some of their notable names at the deadline. There's no reason to keep them. You need a reset. They had a good run. Obviously, they had like 10 years of success, so it's not like they didn't do anything, but they need to regroup. And the Athletics in first place, very shocked by that. I think the Mariners need to really consider trading some of their pitching for hitters, because they don't hit. They really do not hit that well. And they got like 8 or 9 legit starting pitchers with 1 waiting in the wings in the minors. They need to make a move. I would trade 2 of those guys. I know people always say, oh, pitching depth. But still, you need some hitting there. They got nothing going on in that lineup. They need to figure something out there. Then the National League, and NL East, Braves at 25-11. I mean, they're running away with it already. A 9-game lead this early into the season is incredible, and that's what they have. Nationals at 16-19. Marlins also at 16-19. Washington, I got to see them play. I know I did the live stream last week, Mets versus Nationals. That game, the CT knows if you're still on. That was a rough game to do a live stream for. The only highlight we had was Soto hitting a home run. That was about it. And Washington, they're a young team. They'll probably be here eventually, but still they're playing not, compared to what they've done in the last few years, this is a success for them. 3 games under 500. And same thing for Miami. And then the Phillies 15-20. I believe they're 6-1 since Don Mattingly, Donnie Baseball has taken over for them. So they've got a little jolt with the coaching change. And then the Mets 13-22. I talked about them before. Nothing really going for them. They are 3-1 in their last 4 games, but they played the Angels and the Rockies. But it doesn't matter. When you're not terrible, a win is a win, obviously. But this is a team that really is not that good. Let's face the fact, they're not a good team. They have not really played that many good teams. They played the Cubs and the Dodgers are really notable teams that they played are really good. Besides that, very, very winnable games, and they just haven't won any of them. And then we got the NL Central. We got the Cubs in first place. They've been on a really, really good run, 23-12. Then we got the Cardinals at 21-14, just 2 games out. For a team that was expected to be one of the worst in the league this year, their young players have stepped up big time, and they're in second place. Then the Reds also 20-15. They're in third place. They're right there. And the Pirates also 19-16. They're right there. So we get the Cardinals 2 games out of first, the Reds 3 games out of first, and the Pirates 4 games out of first. So they're all separated very closely there. And even the Brewers, last place at 18-16. They got a nice return guy from the injured list, Jackson Churio. He went 4 for 4 last night. And of course, I forgot to put him in my fantasy lineup, but he's back, so that's big for them, especially with Yelich hurt, and they got Woodruff hurt. They have some pitchers hurt. They have some guys hurt, but they're going to be a good team. I think they'll bounce back just fine. Then the NL West, Dodgers at 22-13, Padres at 20-14. Then we got Diamondbacks 16-17, Giants 14-21, and the Rockies at 14-22. We all know that's a 2-man race. Arizona may be a shot at the wild card. And then the rest of those last 2 teams, Giants and Rockies, are going to have a rough year. Let's see how long the Padres can keep up with the Dodgers. I think they could do it longer than people think, but eventually the Dodgers, they got a loaded team. They'll be able to just overcome if the Padres are right there for them trying to get them, and they'll win anyway. But yeah, I just wanted to go through the baseball standings. Didn't really do it that much like that crazy last week, so that's why I wanted to do it this week. Let's go to the NBA, where we got one headline, and then we'll do a playoff update. Magic fired Jamal Mosley, so they were up 3-1 over the Pistons, which we'll get to the Pistons news in a second as well. Magic were up 3-1. Blew the 3-1 lead, had a tremendous lead at home in Game 6, 20-point lead, and they let that get away. And, that was it for him. Jamal Mosley has made the playoffs the last 3 years, but have yet to get past the first round. So now they're going to look for someone that, they know they've been in there. They've been in the postseason, but can they advance? That's the goal for them, and I don't think Mosley can do it. And then the Pistons, after their win, they extend Bickerstaff. JB Bickerstaff will get an extension from Detroit. They've advanced past the first round for the first time in a very long time. They haven't done that in recent years, from what I can remember. I mean, they haven't even made the playoffs in a while before last year. And last year, obviously, they lost to the Knicks. Now they get that step up into the second round. And then let's do the playoff update. So we'll get to these are the best teams that are left. So we're not messing around with who's available in terms of who's left in the playoffs. These are the teams that deserve it. They won their first round in the playoffs. And then let's go to the West first. The Thunder and Lakers, they haven't played a game yet. Their first game is going to start in a few minutes. We'll see what the Thunder, if they can continue their undefeated playoff runs. They swept very easily over the Suns in the first round. They haven't played. I don't think the Thunder have played in like a week or almost a week at this point. Then the Lakers started out 3-0, lost a couple, and then they beat the Rockets 4-2 in that series. Then slide down to the other spot in the West, Timberwolves versus Spurs. Minnesota, big win for them last week. They weren't expected to be really competitive in this series. People weren't even giving them a chance to get out of the first round after they lost Anthony Edwards and DiVincenzo, Dante DiVincenzo, Knicks legend, of course. But Anthony Edwards played last night, played okay, did what he had to do. Randall had a big game. Timberwolves almost blew it, but they held on, got a big win on the road. That's it. When you steal a win on the road, especially the game 1 or game 2, that's huge a confidence boost for that team. And the Spurs are expected to win this series as well. So now they're going to have to battle back from that 1-0 deficit. They play tomorrow at 9:30. And then we got to go to the East here. Pistons and Cavs are in the third quarter. Pistons are up 10, but that was a little bit of larger of a lead before. So maybe Cleveland's making a little bit of a comeback here. We'll see how that series goes. And then the series at the bottom, Knicks versus 76ers. Knicks won last night. They're up 1-0, I think it was 137-98 win, something crazy like that. Another huge win for New York. We will be live tomorrow night. So all the fans on here and everyone, you'll see it again. I'll post it again tomorrow, but we'll be live tomorrow night. We got Dom coming on for the first half with Biggie, probably, I'm sure he'll be on in the beginning of the game. I'll talk to him after, but I'm sure he'll be on for the beginning. I'll be here, obviously, in the beginning. CT, if you're watching, let me know if you're able to make it on or not. You'll be on in the second half for Corey. Corey will be on, who's obviously with us in the draft show. And we may have a potential big-time guest coming on in the first half. We'll see. We'll see if that can, all come into place there. But I just wanted to throw that out there. Make sure you guys tune in. At least Dom in the first half, at least Corey in the second half, possibly CT in the second half with Corey, because that's what I want to do. Have those two guys, great chemistry, and then have that potential guest with Dom in the first half. We'll see how that goes. And then going back, I know I didn't talk about all the matchups, but we said the Thunder won 4-0, Lakers won 4-2, Timberwolves won 4-2, Spurs won 4-1, then the Pistons 4-3, Cavs 4-3, so both of those went to Game 7. Knicks won 4-2, 6 games, and then the 76ers came back and won in 7 games as well. I like that one, CT. I just don't know if the Timberwolves are going to be able to keep the health. Their health is not the greatest right now. Anthony Edwards, yeah, he did. Ant-Man played okay last night, but he wasn't really moving the way he should. Obviously, he shouldn't even be playing at this point with what the injury he has, but we never know. But they don't care. They don't care who they're playing, when they're playing. They go in there, they fight. They fight very, very hard. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that with Minnesota. But they get that one game that's very much needed. Let's go to the pick'em now, where our standings have gotten very, very close. And let's see. Oh, Biggie, perfect. Look at Biggie. He might be watching us in time. Just last second there with the pick there. But for our pick'em, me and Biggie will reset at the end of May. So this is the last month of our pick'em, and then we'll reset the standings when we get to the beginning of June. I'm at 42-31. He's at 41-32. So after we picked all those NBA matchups last week, he did get that 1 game advantage. I believe he picked the Pistons and I picked the Magic. That was the difference, and he did get the advantage there. But for the game's not tonight, it's tomorrow. But for this week's pick'em, we'll do Canadians versus the Sabres. I'm going to go with the Sabres, and Biggie just sent me his pick as well. He'll go with the Sabres, so the standings won't change. We just believe that, the Canadians, hard-fought series against Tampa Bay, went 7 games. They probably don't have all the fuel that they're looking for, tonight. Tomorrow night, I should say. So they're not gonna win tomorrow. And I think Biggie would say the same thing. And the Sabres also kind of that team of destiny. So we got both of us got the Sabres winning Game 1 in tomorrow night's matchup. But yeah, that's pretty much it for episode 118. I want to thank everyone for coming on. Tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow's a big one. Knicks versus 76ers. Haven't did a Knicks stream in a while. Kind of didn't want to get into the first round just because we expected them to win and we wanted a little bit more competition here. We'll see how it goes. But Knicks versus 76ers live stream tomorrow night at 7. The game starts at 7. So, the game starts at like 7:15, but we'll get on at 7. We'll let all the guys and get our guests in right away. We'll get the comments and everything going. We'll have a fun time. But thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And 7 o'clock tomorrow. Be ready. And we'll have a good time once again. But support us, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, everything. Support us and have a great night, guys. See ya.